She was described as one of the best DNA analysts in Colorado. Now Yvonne Missy Woods is under investigation.
Nice reporter Courtney Yoon joins us now. And Courtney, Woods is no longer an employee of the Colorado Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, that's right, Corey and Jordan. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation says anomalies were discovered in her work while they were reviewing a sampling of cases. Now former CBI Director Ron Sloan says he's stunned and saddened to learn of the allegations against Missy Woods. 9 News got a copy of the letter the current CBI Director Chris Schaefer sent to district attorneys on Monday. He wrote the agency may have information about Woods that could affect her credibility in court. Schaefer also said the agency is finalizing a plan this week, which includes making a list of the cases she worked on and prioritizing and retesting cases. So far, district attorneys have said they still do not know what problem the CBI is looking into. Former Director Sloan described her as the go-to analyst for high-priority cases.
She was a very reliable, a very professional analyst and human being. And I know that district attorneys and prosecutors throughout the state came to know Missy very well.
Woods testified in court as an expert witness at least 500 times, including in some of the state's highest profile cases. In at least 370 of those cases, she testified as an expert in forensic DNA. The CBI says it's bringing in an outside agency to do an internal affairs and criminal investigation. It's unclear when the agency might release more about this case.
All right, Courtney, thank you for the update. Right now, police are looking for the people who tried to force their way into a house on the hill in Boulder. It's been more than a week, and they still don't have anyone in custody. But cell phone video from a neighbor shows exactly what happened.
They're fighting over there. Yeah, they're fighting over there. I'm straight up.
That neighbor says the people inside the house were trying to keep the others out of a Halloween party. Well, they started fighting, and then police say one of the party crashers pulled out a gun and fired. The bullet almost hit someone inside. Police are asking anyone who recognizes the group in costumes to give them a call.
This morning, this is the state of a house in Georgetown after a semi-truck driver hit a bridge nearby. Police think that the driver made a very tight turn. Equipment caught part of the bridge, ripped it off, and dragged it through the side of a house. 2 people were inside. One had minor injuries. Then police say the driver kept on going. You can see it in this video. Georgetown police say that the driver was headed west on I-70. It has a white cab and trailer with a white windbreaker on just the right side. The left side might have some damage. If you have seen this truck, you are asked to call police. The man accused of a road rage shooting on I-25 this summer says that it was self-defense, but prosecutors arrested and charged him instantly.
Now he's calling it a double standard by prosecutors. Denver police arrested Stefan Long back in June, just moments after the shooting. 2 men died. Long told police they had cut him off on the highway and stopped in front of him. He says they got out of their car and started beating him and claims he used his legally registered gun to defend himself. Then he drove off to get away. Last month, prosecutors dropped one of the murder charges against him, and Long was recently granted bond. He sat down for the first time with 9 News reporter Steve Steger to tell his side of what happened that day. During that interview, he suggested a double standard in the DA's office, pointing to the case of a white man who gunned down a 12-year-old who stole his car earlier this year and was never arrested.
He can go in there and tell them what happened, and they have everything on footage and be released. Never be arrested. You know, everything that comes with me being incarcerated and being charged with those 2 charges just affects not only me, but my family and everybody around me.
Today on 9 News at 4, you'll hear more of Long's side of the story of what happened that day and the questions Denver City Council posed to the DA about the case.
It is now 6:06 on your Thursday morning, and we are less than a year away from the next presidential election. And for the 3rd time, Republican candidates faced off in a debate. Here's NBC's Alice Barr from Florida.
In the 3rd Republican presidential debate, a slimmed-down 5 candidates aiming to narrow the field even more.
You gave them stuff. I didn't give them anything.
What's your story?
They're trying to knock each other out of the way to become the main challenger to the overwhelming frontrunner, former President Trump.
He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall.
Anybody who's going to be spending the next year and a half of their life focusing on keeping themselves out of jail and courtrooms cannot lead this party or this country.
Mr. Trump again choosing to skip the debate, rallying instead outside Miami.
Florida, great state. We love to be with you.
foreign policy featuring prominently in the first debate since the start of the Israel-Hamas war.
You don't respond to an enemy and a terrorist with fear, you respond with strength. When you do that, that's when the world pays attention, and that's when Iran stops.
As President of the United States, my foreign policy is simple. You cannot negotiate with evil. You have to destroy it.
Ukraine aid, another key topic. And on China.
And we have to declare economic independence from our enemy.
The rivals zeroing in on the economy.
Everything involving Bidenomics, I'm going to rip it up and I'm going to throw it in the trash can.
We are going to unleash every bit of American energy.
The candidates all grappling with Tuesday night's election results that brought big wins for Democrats, centered on abortion rights.
Let's focus on how to save as many babies as we can and support as many moms as we can and stop the judgment.
A night focused on the issues with the first primary contest fast approaching. In Miami, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now, we still don't know if Trump will be on the ballot in Colorado.
A judge in Denver is expected to make a decision sometime this month. A group of voters is suing, saying Trump is ineligible to run because he aided an insurrection, though he's never been charged or convicted of a crime for the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Recently, the head of Colorado Republican Party told a white nationalist webcaster that they expect the judge in Denver to take Trump off the ballot.
I will assure you that once this judge rules against us, there's going to be a lot of media coverage, and that's unfortunate because we might have been able to do things differently had we had enough public outcry to stop this undemocratic thing.
Williams says Colorado Republicans have had trouble raising money for the legal fight to keep Trump on the ballot. They've only raised about $1,000. Whichever way the judge rules, this case is expected to go to the Supreme Court.
Minnesota's Supreme Court just made a decision on a similar lawsuit. Trump will be on the primary ballot there. Minnesota's justices ruled state law allows political parties to put any candidate they would like on the primary ballot. They dodged questions on whether Trump's role in the January 6th attack should bar him from office. It's still possible that the group could sue again to try to keep Trump off the general election ballot next November.
New overnight, the human rights chief of the United Nations says both Israel and Hamas have committed war crimes in the past month. On October 7th, Hamas attacked Israel, killing 1,400 people and kidnapping around 240 others. Since then, Israel's attacks on Gaza have killed more than 10,000 people, and the Israeli military has told more than 1 million people to move from the north of Gaza to the south. The UN says that would have serious humanitarian consequences. The human rights chief is pushing for both sides to agree to a ceasefire to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza.
In just a few days, several members of a Jewish community in Denver will fly to Israel, bringing donations from Coloradans. Rabbi Menachem Lehrfeld was planning a trip to Israel when the war started, so he decided to turn his trip into a mission, asking his Jewish community for help.
Just in a matter of days, we've collected thousands of items that are going to soldiers on the front line. We have raised tens of thousands of dollars to be able to support Israel in any way we can. I want people to understand how personal this is to the Jewish community.
He is leading a group of a dozen volunteers with the organization Aish. They will be in Israel by next week to volunteer where needed. Those not making the trip are sharing messages of love and support meant to be shared along with the donations. There have already been some volunteers from the states who have traveled to Israel and back. One told us that in addition to bringing supplies, they've also been helping businesses, even farms, that have lost their employees who are either fighting in the war or displaced by it.
And one thing you want to know about the weather today are the stats. Going for a high of 49 degrees today, comparing to a normal high of 56 degrees. The normal low is 29. The record 77 from 2019. Erica, look at this low from 1958, below zero.
That's going to be an absolutely not for me, Ed. Thank